Good evening, Tigers. My name is Nora Thiemann, and this week on Everyone's Critic, I will be talking about a fairly recent release to theaters, Crimson Peak. I'm warning you all now, there will be spoilers. I'll give the basic plot for people who are too scared to see the actual movie, but still want to know the creepy details. After marrying the beautiful Sir Thomas Sharp, played by the charming Tom Hiddleston, Edith Cushing finds herself whisked away to his mansion to live happily ever after. The only other people who live in this mansion, isolated from society, are servants and Sir Thomas's sister, Lucille. Edith's ability to communicate with the dead help her decipher the house and the Sharps' sibling secrets. The more she finds out about the Sharps' past, mainly their mother's mysterious death and Thomas's secret past wives, the more danger she is in. She soon learns that monsters aren't always from your past. Sometimes they're right here with you. This movie spares no time for the scares. Within the first 3 minutes of the movie, we see young Edith in her bed crying after her mother's death. Edith sits up in her bed to the sound of a whisper. She looks down the hall to see a crippled ghost crawling toward her. Scared, she hides under the covers like any rational kid or adult. The soundtrack in the background gets quieter, forcing you to listen for what might come next. A black, skeleton-like hand reaches over Edith, turns her around, and yells, "Beware of Crimson Peak." This is the very first big scare of the movie, and it's not even 5 minutes in. The next 30 to 40 minutes of the screen time are all about plot. We learn about Edith and her passion for ghosts, Edith's father controlling and discipling tendencies, and we're introduced to the Sharp siblings, my personal favorite, again, being Sir Thomas. The next big scene isn't so much of a scare as it is disturbing to watch. After Edith's father, Carter, blackmails the Sharp siblings to return to England, Carter is seen in his bathroom just beginning to shave. Carter hears a noise and, like any normal person, goes to investigate, putting down his razor. At this point, all I could think about was the razor that he left, because, like any classic movie murder, the weapon left would be the weapon used. Crimson Peak is not that type of movie, though. Instead, Carter finds no one and returns to his sink, only to have his head smashed into it repeatedly until he is thrown to the ground to bleed out. 10 points to director Guillermo del Toro for throwing me off guard. Now, since Edith's father is now dead, she has to move in with the Sharps to their mansion, which is more commonly known as Crimson Peak, due to the fact that since it's surrounded by red clay, the snow from the winter turns a bloody red. The mansion oozes red clay from every nook, cranny, and corner, adding to the eerie and unsettling atmosphere throughout the rest of the film. As Edith explores the mansion, she finds more disturbing secrets, and with the help of terrifying ghosts like the one pictured here, she discovers the Sharps' real intention. The ghosts, although trying to be helpful, I assume, scared her into places in the house that revealed the Sharps' plan. While listening to a gramophone left by a woman in the house, Edith learns that the tea Lucille gives her every night is poisoned, and that the Sharps plan to kill her and take all of her money, as they have done with 3 other women. While going to confront Thomas about what she has found, she sees Lucille and Thomas mid-hookup. Okay, 1, gross, 2, gross again, they're siblings. I did not expect them to actually do that. The movie definitely shows that they were close siblings, but I had no idea they would be that close. Another 10 points to Guillermo for completely blindsiding me. It was gross, but it was impressive nonetheless. Clearly upset by this news, Edith tries to run away, but the poison tea has made her super weak, and Lucille manages to push her down the stairs. Luckily, Edith's childhood friend Alan, worried from not hearing from Edith since her move to England, happens to show up on their front door at that exact moment. Lucille stabs him and lets Thomas finish him off. Thomas, since falling in love with Edith, gives Alan a non-fatal wound and leads him to the basement where he can hide. Lucille takes Edith upstairs to get her to sign the last papers to make her estate the siblings. Edith luckily gets away and escapes to the basement to rescue her friend. Thomas then confronts Lucille and tries to reconcile with her. All seems to be going pretty well until Lucille realizes Thomas is in love with Edith. Like the insane person she is, she kills him in a jealous rage and then chases after Edith. Now, I liked Jessica Chastain in Jurassic World when she was nice and funny, but this Jessica scared me to death. I don't think anything is scarier than seeing a crazy woman covered in blood, screaming and chasing after someone else with an axe in her hands. As they run throughout the house, the walls, floors, windows, and everything continue to spill and ooze red clay, only adding to the terrifying scene unfolding. The final scene puts you on the edge of your seat. Edith runs outside in the red snow with nothing but a small knife to protect herself. We only see quick shots of Lucille laughing hysterically and running across the scene, covered in blood. With nowhere to go, Edith finds herself helpless in a bloody, snowy death trap. Luckily, the ghost of Sir Thomas comes to her aid, and they kill Lucille together. The movie ends with Edith and Alan being rescued by a team of policemen, as her narration carries over to a scene of Lucille's creepy black skeleton ghost playing the piano in Crimson Peak. This movie constantly thrills you with twisting turns and exhilaration. The crimson clay oozing out of the walls and floors in every scene only adds to the eerie theme throughout the film. This movie relies on no jump scares and instead gives constant, terrifying, skeleton, bloody ghosts to make you want to turn away from the screen in fear. Overall, I give this movie about a 9 out of 10. If you didn't like anything I just said or were confused, you can do what I usually do before I see a movie and look it up on Rotten Tomatoes. Crimson Peak got a 70%, so obviously I wasn't too far off. Thanks for listening to Everyone's a Critic, E23. Now back to the host.